Hi, this is Lorraine, and if you'll give me just a second to clear center and balance my energy, we can get started. So many messages this week, a whole lot of messages this week. I didn't write down any of them. I was guided not to write down any of them, so I didn't. And then I kept on thinking to myself, how am I going to keep all this straight? I guess my journal's been kind of a crutch. Make sure I got all the information, that I could read it, and then just channel what comes as I'm reading it, the additional information that comes as I'm reading it. And they're like, nope, don't write it down. Just, channel, center your energy and channel the information as it comes, or allow the information to flow, and present it as it comes. And but I am going to start at a certain place, because there is, as we awaken and as we transition, we need to see the world, the universe, through new eyes, from a different perspective. Because what we've been told has been more about control, manipulation, and oppression. It has not been about truth. So much of what we know about our world in the universe is half truths or just lies. And so as we awaken and transition, we will be taught the truth. But this transition is about a reconciliation of science and spirituality, because there really is no difference. They are one and the same. All energy has consciousness, and that goes to quantum theory. And if you research that, I would encourage you just to do your own research in understanding quantum consciousness, quantum theory. Schrodinger's cat, the formula, is a very good starting place, and then move from there, because that is about a wave-based reality. And that connects consciousness, spirituality, to science, quantum theory, okay? So I'm just going to review a couple things really fast. In the past, I did a video on, I had an energy with a mask that came through, that was from the video on July 11th. And it presented itself during that video I was making, this energy. And it identified itself as the negative polarity. And on Earth, we would identify that as Lucifer or Satan, right? From a Christian perspective. And so I presented that information that came during that video, and I tried to draw the mask after the video so I could put it in the video after I edited it. And the drawing that came out really wasn't what I saw. It was just all I could recall, and that was kind of a lesson for you and for me on how the universe kind of allows some information, or just parts of information, to come through, even though I had a clear vision of it in the moment when I was channeling and doing the video. So the next video I did, July 16th, I actually had a very clear view of the mask, and I drew it and put it in the video. And then during that video, this energy that would be known as Lucifer or Satan removed his mask. And during that video, it it's androgynous. I mean, we identify sex to these energies, but truly they're androgynous. So I'll just say he identified himself as Lucifer, but what he also explained was he is not that energy. He is not darkness. What he provides is the opportunity. He's more like temptation. He tempts you with these opportunities to delve into darkness, let's say. So we go out for drinks, and we could have one drink, or we could have 5 drinks, or we could have 10 drinks. So he gives you the opportunity to go out and have drinks by someone asking you, would you like to go have drinks after work? And you can choose to show restraint and have just 1 drink or 2 drinks, or you can go 5 drinks and 10 drinks when it becomes less healthy, more negative, right? So you can deviate from that center into that little bit of that darkness, let's say, and dabble and have fun, or you can go to the extreme and just become belligerent and obnoxious, or even over time become an alcoholic, right? So you can delve deep into that negativity. And so he is not the negativity, he is not the darkness, but he does provide the opportunity and temptation for us. And so we can go into we can go way into darkness and pedophilia, and what happens with the adrenochrome, and what happens with serial killers, and you know, all that, which becomes so much more convoluted. There's so no light and dark. It's all just, it's a hodgepodge. So in the past I've said at night darkness is good because we want to sleep. During the day, sunlight is good because we want to be up and out doing stuff. You know, there are various circumstances where what we would consider darkness is good, and where light is bad, right? I gave the example of some of this more dark and depraved behavior by this negative polarity, how it engages in these negative acts. Let's just say torture, for example. And some of these individuals who worship this negative energy would find pleasure in torture. Okay, so they become elated, feel joyous, and validated by this endeavor. And so they're engaging in a negative act, yet they're projecting a positive emotion, right? Joy is considered a positive emotion. Elation is considered a positive emotion, okay? Sadness, anger, bitterness, okay? So when somebody passes, we become saddened, okay? So even though we need to express those emotions, because in order to truly grieve and then release that sadness, we have to go through the grieving process, right? So sadness would be considered a negative energy. If it was a tragic death, or what someone would consider unjust, or something to that effect, you know, a young child dying from cancer, or someone getting hit by a drunken driver, right? So we have sadness, and then we have bitterness behind that death. These are valid emotions, but they are considered negative emotions, which feed the negative polarity. But we need to go through those emotions to go through the grieving process. So what we perceive as positive and negative is very gray, okay? And that's why as we move and transcend, and we move to this higher level of consciousness, we will be allowed to deviate from that center a little bit, right? Not a lot, but a little, because it's necessary in this emotional body of humanity, carrying the depth and breadth of emotion that we do have, that it's necessary for us to move out of center. The key is mastering the emotional body and being able to move yourself back to center, not allowing yourself to go too far out to darkness or too far into light. Because even though, let's say someone's doing something positive, someone spent their life being overweight and then they find their way to eating healthy and working out, but then they become obsessed and they work out 5-6 hours a day, and their food, the way they eat, becomes obsessive. Fruit and vegetables and organic living is fabulous, but when you don't give yourself a treat every now and then, it becomes obsessive. Okay, and so whatever that treat is, it could be candied carrots, or it could be a piece of chocolate. But if we don't allow ourselves to deviate, then we can become obsessed in that area, and so that thing that was positive to help you become healthy can become obsessive, and it can become negative. You start neglecting your work, you start neglecting your family. Those things can become negative. So that desire and that healthy living, which was good to begin with, becomes a negative thing. Okay, so we will be allowed in our emotional bodies to deviate from center, but we have to be able to control ourselves and bring ourselves back to center. Okay, and as we move through this phase, not our words, our actions, our intention, that is dictating whether or not we transcend. And what's really driven this video and this whole week of visions and experiences, communications, telepathic, and spiritual experiences, has been my participation in a group of people who are trying to, or consider themselves awakened, or are trying to awaken, but there's so much fear and focus on the what I would call the minutia, even though it's not minutia, but the nuances of this experience, and the inability to look at this from a higher perspective. Okay, if you're focusing on an illness, or if you're focusing on a shot, and you're focusing on how that affects you, and you're not focusing on connecting to the divine, finding strength, solace, and empowerment through that connection of the divine, and allowing yourself to be guided by the divine, understanding your interconnectedness to each other and to the divine. If you're not focusing on that and elevating your vibration and your awareness, then you are not in the place that you think you are. Okay, if you're focusing on the minutia and not coming from a higher perspective, you're not allowing yourself to awaken to a new perspective. We've been kind of trained to focus on the minutia and the fear and the things that might hurt us. And we're being asked to look at from a higher perspective. We're being asked to have faith and trust in something greater than ourselves. And Pam Gregory, she's an astrologist. She says, we're breaking down to break through. I love that. Breaking down to break through the world. Everything. It's breaking down to break through. And she says also, if we're looking at this experience from the 3D level, it doesn't really serve us. We need to look from a higher perspective. We need to look from a 4D, 5D level. Try to extend ourselves to this higher level of consciousness and look from that perspective. Look at what's going on in the world from that perspective. And I just think those are like genius statements. If we're still at this place from the 3D level, from the past, if we're looking at the world from our past perspective, we're not allowing ourselves to open up to new perspectives and awaken and look at the world and what's happening from a higher perspective. And I know that might sound kind of general, but it's what that means for each person is so individual that I can't really say something. If you're looking at the world from a higher perspective, you are XYZ, right? I can't say that because it's different for each person. Each person has a purpose on this world, and how that purpose manifests into their lives, my life, your life, everybody, affects our perspective and how we perceive the world and how we perceive the experiences that we're going through. It's very individual, okay? And so the best way to find your purpose and start addressing that is to connect to the higher self and to the divine and ask for guidance, okay? And open yourself up to those messages. So I'm going to go back to the video with the mask. When Lucifer pulled the mask off, he explained that he's not that negative thing. He just provides temptation, or he provides opportunities, and then you decide how far you're going to delve into that negativity, or if you're going to restrain yourself, right? He explained that to me. After he explained that to me, he took his mask off, and then I just saw this beautiful angel, no different than any other angel. And he said, there are no fallen angels. Okay, so we've been told that Lucifer is a fallen angel. There are no fallen angels. Okay, all angels are equal. All angels have a purpose, just like we have a purpose. And then I'm not even going to go into this whole idea of angels and how our consciousness has been directed to defining what an angel is, because there's the universe is so complex. I just would call an angel a being of love and light, an energy that projects love and light energy from the divine. And however that thing manifests into your life, you just need to be able to discern whether that energy is here to support you or to misguide you. And so you want to make sure that energy is coming from a balanced perspective and projecting love and light energy. Okay, so Lucifer came. He explained to me that he's only here to provide opportunities. He is not the darkness. There are no fallen angels. And he also said, I cannot deny, I could not defy you, even if I wanted to. And so what that means is, even though we associate him with the negative polarity, he is not the negative polarity, but he was speaking for this negative energy, saying that I cannot deny or defy you. The negative polarity cannot deny or defy unity, divinity, the creator of all things, because that energy is part of unity, divinity, the creator of all things. It's not separate. We've been taught that there's God and Satan. God's good, Satan's bad. And so from that place, I want us to go to a vision I had when I was doing the video. I started doing the video on, I think it was, where's the date? Okay, July 18th. That's after the video when Lucifer took his mask off. The next video, when I was clearing, centering, and balancing my energy at the beginning of the video, I saw angels lighting up. I saw one angel over here, one angel over here, and then an arc that went over both angels, and then angels coming down the middle, and then they were separating out like soldiers lining up, going into formation, left, right. They're in a straight line, one, and then separating out. One energy representing the negative polarity, one energy representing the positive polarity. So we would just say Lucifer and God, our concept of God, with unity, divinity, the source of all creation, over both. And so the lesson here is that we have been taught that unity, or that God and Lucifer are separate, and God represents good and Lucifer represents bad. Well, that's not true. Unity, divinity, the creator of all things, is all things, is all consciousness. Okay, it is the one, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning, which has no end. And then the negative and the positive are part of that. So when we feel unconditional love, that is unity, divinity. When we experience trauma, negativity, that is also divinity, unity. That's divinity and unity separate. ego, not seeing its true self. Whereas light energy understands its connection to the whole and comes from unconditional love. And so understanding that, if you can get your head around that and accept that, or reconcile that into your new reality, because we're moving into a new level of consciousness and understanding, a new reality. On June 26th, I got this message, and I've read this on another video, but I'm going to read it again because it's important. Last night during meditation, I received another profound message. As I was acknowledging the message I received on June 24th, I am the void, I am nothing, I am everything. I received the message, I need you to help me. I need you to help me understand the negative polarity. I need you to help me because there are some components of this negative polarity that I enjoy. This is a paradox I struggle with. I need you to help me understand. Your experiences help me understand. Your knowing, your explanations, your wisdom helps me understand. Please speak to me on this. This truth must be reconciled in order for divinity to fully unify. You are to teach me. This is your purpose. You are the wisest in this endeavor of emotional intelligences. There are many intelligences in this universe, but it is emotional intelligence that is your gift. Please help me reconcile this truth. And so this was very difficult for me to receive and understand, because when you have, this is divinity and unity, the source of all creation, asking me to help it understand this part of itself. And so we have to go back to this idea of positive and negative, and our understanding of positive and negative. So we have a negative experience where this negative polarity is torturing someone, but yet finding pleasure in that endeavor and being elated by it. We have someone who is doing something healthy by working out, projecting a negative energy because they are, in order to keep themselves in shape, and eat healthy, they're neglecting their responsibilities of their family, their spouse, their children, their work, right? So they're doing something positive, but they're projecting a negative energy. And these are very simple examples, but I just need for you to kind of start to understand the complexity of positive, this duality, okay? Understand the complexity of the duality. Not everything that seems negative is negative. Not everything that seems positive is positive. And so this creates a clouded understanding, a little bit of confusion, because this divine energy is experiencing this world from each of our perspectives, many different perspectives. So if you have my perspective, you have someone who is deeply steeped in this negative energy, right? Who is participating in these negative experiences, but has these this elation coming from him, so much joy. You have someone who is experiencing a spiritual moment when I had the angel show up in my room. And I was so joyous and so like happy and feeling total elation. So we have a negative experience and a very positive experience, both exuding the same emotion. And if you're, so it's trying to reconcile this divine energy, unity is trying to reconcile these two truths that seem like a paradox. They're a paradox, right? How can this be true? That someone could have this negative experience and feel so much joy from it, have this positive experience and feel so much the same equal joy from it, okay? And so to get that message, asking for help to try to understand these emotions is just overwhelming. And then just this week I was doing laundry, and then I get this very passionate request. It says, help save me from myself. And this is from our divine creator. This is from the source asking me for help to find perspective in these experiences, because it is necessary for this divine energy to reconcile these truths in order to reconcile itself and to complete this iteration of this experience, of this incarnation of itself. And it's clearly a struggle. And it's very overwhelming, and I just always ask myself, why me? But in the old videos I've done, the beginning, I would say, I don't know what it is about me, but I can overcome anything. I don't know where the strength comes from. And I would say my grandmother and my father, just everything they instilled in me and gave me so much strength that I don't know, and love, even through trauma of my childhood, that somehow I was able to find perspective from the love that they shared with me. And always wanting them to love and respect me, so always working from that paradigm that they taught me through modeling, by leading from example. But no matter what, I always find my way back to center, no matter how far I've deviated from what I would normally do. I don't think I've actually deviated too far, but I've tested the water. I've tempted fate, that's for sure. I've always found my way back. And so from there, I just wanted to, I'm gonna just start clearing my energy again, and see what comes, because there were so many messages this week. I don't know what I'm supposed to convey, so I'm going to allow the information just to flow and convey it as it flows. Okay. I was watching Cosmic Disclosure. There's a new season, and there is a gentleman, Michael. It's Jaco or Jenko? I think it's Jaco. And he's talking about his experiences in the Sacred Space Program. So as I'm watching this, I'm going through all these emotions. They're coming into me, and so first I was heartbroken, and I was so sad that his mother was taken advantage of, and she's told, oh, he's, made to feel that he's special, and he's special for sure, but made to feel that he's special so that she would allow him to participate in this space camp type thing. So pulled him away from her and started training him in a way that should never have happened. And the whys, we're not going to go into that, but so he's put through this, and then kind of trained and ready to go into the secret space from childhood, to go into the secret space program as an adult. And then he talks about his military experiences, and then he talks about hand-to-hand combat, and he was like, wow, hand-to-hand combat, and he's like, the intuition, and how and then I get this feeling of how he's so empowered, and he's like unstoppable, right? And that feeling that he has from that power, and he's kind of seduced by that power, and I got really upset, and I was just pissed. I was like, that's not good. And then, as the episode goes through, or maybe it's in another episode, he kind of comes back to how he's trained to drive from the heart center as he is engaging an enemy, let's just say. And I was like, okay, he brought it back around. And so I was like, we're good. And so I went through this whole circle of emotions as I moved through, And then as he moves through his story, and so I'm watching Cosmic Disclosure, and they're showing the hypnotherapy sessions, some of the hypnotherapy sessions, and then I just start laughing, um, not hysterically, but inside, yes, it was hysterically. I was laughing hysterically, uh, because they call it hypnotherapy sessions, but they're not. He's channeling. He's totally channeling. He's not. He's not hypnotized, but that's okay. That doesn't take anything away from the hypnotherapist. That just means he doesn't need to be hypnotized to access that information. What happens is the hypnotherapist helps him get to a level of consciousness where he's relaxed enough to access that the higher self and the divine and get the information. But he definitely is channeling. Um, you can just tell by looking at him. But that just tells me how that is not something. That tells me how high his vibration was at birth. Not something that was trained into him, not something from exposure. And that's why he got directed into this space camp at such a young age, because he was identified as very young with someone with a very high vibration who would be able to do things that most people would not. And so I enjoyed that whole experience. But then it took me to my friend, and who, even though he doesn't know it, has actually done infinite 20 and backs. There's not even enough to count, because his DNA and his consciousness is unparalleled. But he's paying for it. He is incredibly strong, and he holds himself together. He's like magic to me. And that's why we'll be unified, because I need to help him heal. But it's amazing to me how he can hold himself together when I know how many times he has moved through time. And so even though he's not consciously aware of his experiences, he has an incredible perspective. So I know somehow his subconscious is bleeding through to support him. But even after being a combat veteran, even after on Earth in this life here, even after coming back, to be the kindest, one of the most kindest and sincere people I've ever met in my whole entire life, to be able to walk through darkness in this life, and then even in the subconscious that he doesn't recall, but in this life, to carry this information from his subconscious as well as from his conscious mind in this life, and still remain strong, steadfast, a person of integrity, kind and considerate, without being able to access any type of information in the conscious mind to help support him as he tries to pull his life together. I stand in awe constantly. But I know part of our reunification, there's many levels to that, is about me helping him reconcile all those lifetimes, in the 20 and back, and this lifetime, to bring him peace. And that's only one of many, many reasons why we'll be reunified. But if I get back to Mr. Jaco, I found it very hopeful that they're being trained to drive from the heart as they engage other beings in the universe, because that's exactly what needs to be done. There are some people who won't respond to a hug. There are some people who you need to come straight at from strength, knowing, and empowerment from the divine, from the heart center. And you can do that. We have to be allowed from this level of evolution, transcendence, and consciousness. We are not at a place where we have the ability to just use straight energy to put a energetic bubble around someone so they can't shoot at us, right? Well, you know what I mean. We can't use just merely our consciousness to nip something in the bud. We have to use a show of force. And so starting from this place, driving from the heart, and showing we can control our emotions and who we are, and always come from a place of love and light and centeredness and balance as we engage, that is powerful. And that will move us on a path to our next stage of transcendence. But we have to prove that we can do that from this emotional body in this next stage of evolution. That's why from here, this place from Earth, we all have to come from a centered, balanced place. We have to prove who we are, and through our intention, and we have to prove and show through our actions, words, and intentions that we have controlled the emotional body and can maintain our center with small deviations from center. Okay? This is all part of a process, a very complex process. But in the end, it's our obligation, humanity, our obligation here on Earth, to reconcile the positive and negative polarities through the emotions, the depth and breadth of emotions of this emotional body. And as we do that, we will affect the rest of the universe. We will create balance in the rest of the universe. So these deviations, I'm not going to say enigmas, these extreme cases of people who are committed, or energies that are committed to the negative polarity, it is our obligation to surround them with love and light, embrace them, drive from the heart center, to remind them of their true selves, because we're all born of the light, but then also help them find perspective on how that negativity affects everyone else, and then help them to find their way back to center and have those small deviations just like we do. But that first comes from energy, projecting love and light energy, projecting balance energy at them first, to kind of douse that negativity, dull it a bit, to open them up to new and different perspectives. Okay, because once you can commit to something and block out all rational thought and just drive at that thing. Most of us can't. Athletes are very good at driving through the pain, driving, going over the wall, breaking down the wall and breaking records, right? If with running, swimming, whatever it is they're doing, right? You become single-minded and focused in that endeavor. So this negative polarity has become single-minded and committed without considering anything else. It's separated itself from everything else. Separation is the negative polarity, right? And so we have to find a way to get it to first open itself up to different perspectives, and then start slowly showing them those different perspectives and helping them to raise their vibration and raise their consciousness. And I can't say specifically what that will be for each energy, each world, but it starts with just projecting that love and light energy and surrounding them with that love and light energy. The other thing was I was walking and I was doing some stairs, and something came into my head, and I'm getting these psychic attacks, and they can't really attack me like they used to. And so what they do is they attack my consciousness and they move me out of center and they get me angry, like they know my triggers. And so even though I am not actively engaging in anything in the physical world, my consciousness, I'm getting threats, right? And so in my thoughts, I become combative, very defensive, very aggressive physically. And so I am asking, as I'm going through this in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I need to stop that because that's not my thought. So I stop it, and then I started engaging, asking for help from the divine source, and asking for forgiveness for allowing my thoughts to move into that negative area. And then Mother Earth comes in, and I start talking to her very very clearly. And she and I started apologizing, and I said, I just feel like I would do anything to move you into balance. I will sacrifice myself. If I have to become the darkness, I'll drive from my heart, and I will stomp out the darkness, and I will banish myself from this world so I don't bring that dark energy here, and allow someone else to bring balance, to move from this place forward in balance. Whatever I need to do, I'll do it because I love you so much. And this is such a beautiful world. That's all. It's such a beautiful world. I love this world so much. There's nothing I wouldn't do to sacrifice. There's nothing I wouldn't sacrifice to move Mother Earth into balance. And I told her that. I said, and I apologized for moving out of center. And she just embraced me with rainbows. She embraced me and she held me like cradling a child. And she said, you don't have to worry. I love you. I know what you're willing to do. You are fine. You are okay. It's okay. I'm going to heal you. And she just surrounded me with light energy, rainbow light energy. And then I surrounded the planet with rainbow light energy. I was seeing moonbows. And so I said, oh, that's why I was seeing those moonbows in my visions. I'm like, it's because I'm supposed to surround Mother Earth with the moonbow. So I'm constantly surrounding her now since then. But in that moment, as she was embracing me with the rainbows, I embraced her with the same. And so she said, I'm okay. And then when I was walking, right after that, I had a vision of my friend, and he was not alive. And I was like, but I knew that wasn't him. And then I see a shapeshifter. So I saw this being that was a shapeshifter that was no longer alive. And I got really upset. Because now it's coming closer to home. Now the events are coming closer to home. Now I know that this energy took on the likeness of someone I care about to draw fire away from that person and lost his life. And I was really upset about that. And I just started asking and channeling, and I said, please let them know that they are loved unconditionally. Please let them know where they're going. I don't want them to be afraid. I don't want them to be afraid of death, moving to the next plane of existence. I'm not afraid of death. I know where I'm going. I want them to have that same confidence in where they're going. I don't want them, if they're going to make these ultimate sacrifices, then I need them to know that they are blessed and that where they're going, that they're going to the most beautiful place. They're going home. And then this energy comes in from the military, and he just is smiling and he's laughing. He's like, they know. He's like, they know. We're all willing to make whatever sacrifices we need to create change on this world. And when we sign up, when we start, we know that this transition is sincere. We know what we're sacrificing and why. It's not like the past wars on Earth, which was all manipulation. He says, we know that this is big, and we're willing to make the sacrifices needed. Don't you worry. And so I said, okay. I was okay with it. And so as I was walking home the rest of the way, I was like, I wonder if he knows he's talking to me. Because when I send out love and light energy, like to the leaders of the planet, I surround them with a Fibonacci spiral of love and light energy, and I ask the divine source to surround them with love and light energy, protective energy, give them strength to do the things that they need to do, because it's very hard to go up against this negative energy when they're threatening the people you love and yourself, right? And then raise them up to the divine creator and help them, empower them on their path, right? I ask them for that. So I'm not choosing any particular person. I'm just sending out that energy to the planet, to the people of the planet, right? And I don't know exactly who are those paladins of love and light, but I am sending that energy out. So I kind of wonder, does this person know that it's sending this energy out directly to me? Does it get a message that whoever I am and my purpose is struggling and needs to be assured that everything's okay, and so they get that message and just send back the other message, yes, everything's okay, we understand, you're good, we're good, don't worry. I don't know, because when I get messages, sometimes I'm not always sure where they're coming from, but once I have a face to identify with that energy, then I make the connection. Otherwise, it's more general. Okay, I know if it's coming from a being of love and light. I know if it's coming from someone on this world. I know if it's coming from divinity. I can discern that energy. But I don't always have a face to go with the message. I just know I can discern that it's from a positive energy. Or I can discern if it's a manipulation. So I don't know if he knows I'm getting that specific message from him. But I got that specific message. Then I went again. I was out on another day doing another walk, and I just went to that dark place again, and in my consciousness, and I had to move myself back, and I went to Mother Earth, and I just started apologizing, and I was like, I'm so sorry. It's my job to create balance, and I keep getting moved out of balance, and I was not in a good place. I was emotionally I felt like a failure, right? And Mother Earth, all she did was she held me again, like, and wrapped me in that rainbow, and she just says, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And then she said, what did they do to you? Don't worry, I'll take care of it. I'll heal you. But I think that that's true of all of us. What did they do to us? We're so broken. And I tried to tell people in this group I was meeting with Nobody considers the possibility that as Mother Earth's vibration rises and as my vibration rises, Mother Earth and I match vibration, that she's healing me as she heals herself. Nobody really wanted to hear that. Everybody just wanted to complain about a virus and a shot and, oh my God, what's going to happen next? And what am I going to do? And you should do this and you should do that. Nobody talks about faith and trust in divinity, the source of all creation, unity. Nobody talks about the faith and trust in that this transition that we're going through, the rising of vibration, the rising of vibration of Mother Earth, how that affects us in our body, our physical body, our mind, body, and spirit. Nobody's considering that. And if you're not considering that, I think it's a good idea for you to consider it, because start considering it, because that is transcendence, understanding the world from that perspective, understanding and seeing the world through new eyes, what it's going to take to create change and to heal us. It's not stuff from the past. It's right now. And as we continue to hold on to the past, we keep manifesting the past. We need to sit here in the present, maintain clear-centered, balanced energy, project positive thoughts for a positive outcome. Whatever that outcome is, I'm not asking for any specific thing. Not with regards to Mother Earth, not with regards to Mother Earth. I'm allowing the flow of energy to happen, and I support Mother Earth in her transition. And I, as far as I'm concerned, as being a being living on this world, I'm along for the ride, and I'm trying to match her vibration, so I can transcend with this world and continue to be a part of it. There are some specific parts in my life which I will say I project how I would like those outcomes to happen. So I project visions in my mind of what I would like to see. More specifically, that's directly related to my life personally. But as far as a global vision, as far as love and light, balanced energy on this world, healing, I put that energy out in support of Mother Earth. I'm just going to take another second and see what comes. So the energies have been very quiet. The raptors came in when I was clearing my energy in the beginning, and the beings in the water, and they both were like, it's time. Now's the time. And then this gentleman in the military, he came through, same thing, it's time. I know I've gotten all these warnings from different sources, and I know there's going to be one final push to attempt to maintain control. They're not going to be able to maintain control, but they're going to try. And so as these events come closer to happening, I guess my responsibilities will become greater. And so I think that's the message that they're sending me. It's like, it's time. And so I just heard, we rely on you, you can rely on us. And that's a really important message for me, because I have some pretty significant trust issues. So they're assuring me that they can be trusted. And so the final thing is, I just see the sun rising in a very, very large, very ominous type of energy, but it is an energy of protection of Mother Earth. And so the sun is going to be coming in rather strong. That energy from the sun is going to be coming in really strong, and in protection of Mother Earth. Mother Earth nurtures and Father Sun protects. They're symbiotic, so Father Sun will be coming in very strong. Okay, that's it. Thank you.